So saam met ons op GROOTplaas vanoggend is die acting chief executive van Landbank, Jabu Mphambo. Jabu, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Jabu, so this year's theme at NAMPO is resilience through innovation. So from Landbank's perspective, what does resilience in the South African agricultural market look like in 2026?
Yeah, in the current environment, resilience is something that we definitely need. You'll be aware of the many storms that the sector is facing, starting with the Middle East crisis. Of course, that's got major ripple effects on our farmers. We know of the recent Western Cape weather conditions that also are impacting farmers. Of course, FMD has been quite topical this year, among others. And it's a season where we need to demonstrate that we're able to weather the storms. And the definition of resilience in this year would mean that we must have means and initiatives to ensure that after the storms have long been gone, the sector still remains.
Now, one of the things I think all farmers will tell you is that they are facing mounting pressure from climate change, rising input costs, energy challenges, infrastructure constraints. Which of these issues currently concerns Landbank the most, and why is that?
I think any issue that concerns farmers will concern us, because if our farmers do not produce effectively or do not realize the yields they are expecting to realize, or their cash flows are impacted, it's going to have ripple effects on our cash flow as well. So whatever touches the farmer will at some point touch us, and we need to be proactive in the way we assist our clients where possible to be able to withstand those storms.
So Landbank is also focusing strongly on blended finance solutions at NAMPO this year. Can you explain how blended finance can practically help both commercial and developing farmers grow sustainably?
Yeah, so from a developmental perspective, maybe to explain the product blended finance, it's obviously a blending of a loan component with a grant component. What that does is it lowers the cost of funding for the farmer to ensure that they're able to generate sufficient cash flows even for sustaining their business. Very important product for development. We were able to disburse in the region of 1 billion rands in the past financial year. That reflects 70% above the previous year. And I think that signifies the demand that's in the market for a product like that. And when you move into the commercial space, I think blended finance also has a role to play there, depending on who you are servicing. You know, there may be a need for you to blend facilities that assist with addressing challenges that commercial farmers may be faced with. And that may not necessarily be a new loan origination, but see it as a restructure of some sort where a commercial farmer has been impacted by difficult conditions. Of course, the construct of blended finance that we are currently running as a bank is in partnership with the Department of Agriculture, and that is to follow strict guidelines and criteria. Currently, that would be black farmers that qualify for that and must meet or be within a certain threshold. As an example, if a black farmer is producing or turning over revenue about 50 million rands, they wouldn't qualify. So outside of that, if we're able to unlock other grants outside of the Department of Agriculture, we can, of course, position some blended finance solutions that serve not only the black farming segment, but also white farmers. Currently, we are talking to different funders to see if we're able to unlock more grant funding that can help us grow this product.
So the Agro-Energy Fund is one of the key discussion points this year at NAMPO 2026. How important is alternative energy becoming for the future profitability and sustainability of farming businesses in South Africa?
Very, very important. So when the Agro-Energy Fund was launched, it was at the heart of load shedding. And at that time, it was seen as a solution to address load shedding. But times have since changed. And what we're now doing is redefining that product to ensure that it speaks to energy efficiency, such that when we visit farmers and sell this product, we're speaking to energy efficiency instead of load shedding. And as you know, escalating cost of energy can be addressed by a product like this. So it's a very important product for farmers. Some of the client visits I've done, you'd have a farmer indicate that they've been able to save in the region of 80% of their electricity cost as a result of having a product like Agro-Energy Fund. So without a doubt, it's something that we believe is necessary for the sector.
Jabu, we'll be back with you in a second. Dit is ons gas op GROOTplaas vandag, Jabu Mphambo. Hy is die acting chief executive by 'n landbank. Ons is terug op GROOTplaas net hierna. So many farmers are interested in innovation, but financing new technologies could be very difficult. How is Landbank helping producers adopt innovative solutions without placing additional financial strain on them?
Yeah, for us, innovation would have to speak to, if you look at Landbank internally, looking at our product suite. What don't we currently have? How can we redefine what we have to better serve our customers? So as an example, we recently launched or got an approval to launch the revolving facility. We hadn't had that before. Currently, it's just the pure production facility that you'd have to apply every single year. So what that will do now with the revolving credit facility is an existing farmer or client of ours, after they've paid up to a certain threshold, in the next production cycle, they don't need to apply for a production loan. They can simply draw down from what is already in their account. And you can imagine the impact of that, because it saves them on time. They're able to draw down the funds quickly and avoid being late for planting. So that's one of the innovative solutions that we are bringing to market. Of course, in other sectors, it may already be at play, but for Landbank, I think, given where we come from, it's something we're excited about.
Now, collaboration is a major theme in Landbank's engagement this year. Why is it so important for government, financiers, organised agriculture and farmers to work together to secure the future of the agricultural sector?
Yeah, the agri-sector is one that cannot be run by one individual or player. It requires collaboration from different angles. So take infrastructure as an example. It's the role of government to address that. And without strong infrastructure, farmers will be impacted. The role of Landbank is multifaceted. Of course, at the heart of that is the funding that we provide to our farmers, but also we play an ecosystem coordination role in that we're able to connect our farmers with market access partners. We have a number of partnerships with the likes of Woolworths, Tiger Brands, Boxer, Heineken, just to name a few, to ensure that a farmer that we're able to support financially has access to market for commodities that qualify. And so already you can see that there are different players in that ecosystem that need to pull different ways to ensure that the sector is successful. So it's a very important part of our business.
Now, emerging and developing farmers often face the greatest barriers to accessing finance and insurance. What steps are Landbank taking to improve financial inclusion and accessibility within the agricultural sector?
That's very true. Access to finance for emerging farmers is critical. We've recently launched our Farmers Academy, and the intention of that, or the purpose of that, is really to upskill farmers to ensure that they're able to succeed in their farming enterprises. It will provide education for them as it relates to, for instance, managing cash flow, managing their farming enterprise as a business, and also empowering them with information that helps them to be funding ready. So by the time they come to apply for funding from us, they already know what's required. In addition to that, we have partnerships with pre and post finance support partners. Those will also be on the ground with farmers to equip them with skills and know-how, both on the pre-planting or pre-investment side, as well as post-investment side, to ensure from end to end clients are successful in their enterprise.
Now, food security is one of the main national priorities. We all know that. How does Landbank balance supporting profitability for farmers while also contributing to long-term food security and transformation in agriculture?
Again, that's a very important question. As a Schedule 2 entity, we are required to be financially self-sustaining. And for us to be able to achieve that effectively, we need to ensure our funding model speaks to our mandate. We're in a process of enhancing that or revising that to ensure that the funding model of the bank supports development. So currently it's work in progress to address that. As you know, we came out of default at the end of 2024. We are in engagement with National Treasury as part of our funding initiatives. We are speaking to a number of developmental institutions that provide funding to DFIs like ourselves What that will do is help us lower our cost of funding and will translate into profitability or increased profitability on our side, but also enhanced pricing for our clients. So very important for us to get that right, and there's lots of work on the go on it.
Jabu, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Pleasure.
Dis Jabu Mphambo, hy is die acting chief executive van Landbank oor alles wat hulle vir die boere doen en ook hier by Nampo natuurlik. Dit is dit vir GROOTplaas, ons hoop jy het geniet saam met ons.